During the 15th century, in ancient Egypt, I was a young boy, a slave, what most called me, but I was smarter, stronger than just a slave. As I did my responsibilities, most noticed my smooth work and children. My age were jealous. Elders often thought to themselves about me, mostly saying, "This child has the potential to be an extraordinary knight or scholar indeed." I walked around with grace and maturity, did my work even if I got whipped for being too graceful. I didn't understand but didn't complain. One day my mother got sick with a disease called malaria, a popular disease that most healers can't fix. Even though my mother was very graceful and beautiful, people lost hope in her because of the disease, but I refused to let my mother get weak and sick. Every day I would take care of her while trying to take care of the house. After a few weeks, my mother's disease went away. People were shocked, speechless, that a young 11-year-old healed a disease that took a lifetime for royal guards. I continued my path to help my mother get stronger, feeding her every day while making sure she gets education, as I was a very intelligent boy. While I was picking some fruits for my mother, I whistled a nice tune as I didn't notice an arrow coming for me from the knight's accidental miss. Before I could react, my reflexes did. In almost an instant, my hand went up and caught the lightning speed arrow. My eyes widened. I was confused but relieved. I questioned myself, asking, "What just happened?" I sigh as I notice other people looking at me. The elders were particularly shocked. After what felt like an eternity, but it was actually just 5 minutes, people finally stopped looking at me. I walk away home with a basket full of fruits going to my mother, who's in bed, resting peacefully. "Mother, are you awake?" I brought some fruits like pears, strawberries, and apples. My mother softly wakes up at my voice. As I walk to her, she says to me, "Darling, are you all right? I heard the village's mumbles involving your name." "It's all right, Mum, just caught an arrow without even knowing, but not to worry about that. I need you to eat." My mother eats, a little curious but mostly concerned about how I caught an elite warrior's arrow. My mother looks at me a bit skeptical about my health. "What?" I ask curiously, not knowing that she's skeptical. I eat a pear, telling my mother, "I'll be out for training, Mum." I put on other clothes, ready to head out as I go to practice strength training, combat and military drills, gymnastics and flexibility, and water sports. First, I would do strength training. I would often lift 100 kilograms, rocks and animals. Royal guards were envious of me, an 11-year-old picking up heavy animals and rocks like that. Honestly, it was pretty hard since I was a young boy, not a royal guard yet. I pushed myself, but also made sure I was still healthy and didn't hurt a muscle or bone of mine. Next was combat. This one was my favorite as I loved practicing martial arts. I've learned karate, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, boxing, kickboxing, and Kung Fu. I practice hard every day for 8 hours since every sport takes up 80 minutes. When I got home, I saw my mother. She ate half the basket of the fruits I picked, and now she's resting peacefully. I wake her up softly for her daily education since when she used to have that disease, her memory of intelligence went away. After 2 hours of teaching her, she looked at me wondering how I could stay so patient. Not even my father could, even though he wasn't a bad man. My mother says softly, "Son, I know you don't know about your father, but I see your determination and patience. It truly shows your pure heart." I looked at her softly, not noticing that I was completely oblivious to her observation. The next day, while I was hunting Pharaoh Sechem, the IV watched behind me as I didn't notice him and got a clean shot on a male deer, which usually has the best meat. Sechem speaks in his deep voice, radiating the silent forest. "What a clean shot, hello young one, I've heard very paramount things about you." I turn around, slightly frightened of his unexpected appearance, but I keep my composure. I bow, not too low, not too high, right in the middle, with precision, with exceptional respect and great calm. I say, "Hello, my pharaoh, it's a pleasure to meet you." Some slaves saw but stayed quiet, not trying to cause a disturbance. Sikhem the IV looks at me with an intrigued expression. He gives me an offer, a very generous one. "Now, young one, this is the first offer I've ever given to a slave, but I see a colossal amount of potential in you." I keep my composure, slightly raising an eyebrow, curious on his offer. Sekem lets out a chuckle, noticing my curiosity, but he explains, Now, child, let me explain you have the abilities of an SRH, YRC, and ERS. My eyes widen. I know these abbreviations, SRH meaning Specialized Ranger Healer, where you get to heal and practice. YRC meant Yokozuna Ranger Champion, which means I get to practice more martial arts and use them in professional battle. And ERS meant Elite Ranger Scholar, meaning I would get more professional and excellent scholar-worthy education. My voice wavered slightly. Wait, you mean I can become all three of them, but that's impossible? The generous pharaoh chuckles, yes, child, but since you have such an exquisite reputation, now I think I shall give you the name of the Triple Ranger Champion. The TCR sounds good, right? My eyes widened with shock at his very generous offer as I heard gasps from different directions, mostly slaves. I spoke, my words jumbled. I accept, but I want to know one thing. Sechem tilts his head in confusion. He thought that all I ever wanted was just money, reputation, title. But he answers, yes, I suppose as my TCR I shall grant your favour. My mother, I request that you let her live with me in the royal palace, I said, my initial worry to my mother. Sechem nods thoughtfully. Where does your mother live? I'd like to personally give her the information. I nod, my eyes lightening as I thought, does that mean he accepts? I walk, keeping my composure as I go home. Slaves watch as Sechem follows. I walk in talking calmly. Mom, we have a visitor. My mother stands wavering slightly since she's still healing from the disease. She speaks her voice mature and graceful. What do you mean, my darling? I didn't expect anyone. Her voice shuts out at the sight of Sechem, the IV. The pharaoh looks at her as if he wasn't an evil pharaoh. He just had an aura that was peaceful yet overwhelming, though it was true. I scratched my neck nervously. He approached me while I was hunting, and now I became his personal TRC. My mother's eyes widen with confusion as she staggers.